Greenwood Advisory Plan Commission for Monday, November 14th, 2022. First order of business is the approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Monica and second by Mr. Walker. Is that correct? All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a request and continuances.
Mr.
We have,
President,
yes.
if I may, could I get one order of business out of order and come in right after this? It'd be very short.
Okay.
So moved.
Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Mr. Fuller, come down. For the past 20-some years,
Yes.
you've been a member of Planning Commission, other commissions with the city. You've been a great service to our community. And tonight is your last in-person meeting.
It
You'll
is.
still be here for another meeting
I will.
before you retire. But I want to give you a certificate of appreciation for all you've done. It says presented to Trent Puller in recognition of Trent Puller served as the Advisory Planning Commission for 21 years. And since 2006, he served 17 terms as president. Big shoes to fill, sir. He served as a member of the Overlay Committee and 2 years as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals. And during his tenure on the Advisory Planning Commission, he participated in the following: the adoption of the 2007 through 2027 Comprehensive Plan, the Guide for Land Use and the Development of the City, which I thought wasn't what you thought it was going to be. Multiple annexations in the expanded planning and zoning and jurisdictional boundaries for the city. He served as a member of the steering committee for the first major revision of the city's zoning regulations in almost 40 years, and the adoption of the Unified Development Ordinance in 2020. The redevelopment of downtown, including the facade remodeling project, the Greenwood Fieldhouse, and the 523 South Madison development projects. The city of Greenwood would like to thank Trent Puller for his many years of service and his dedication to the city, given this 14th day of November, 2022.
Man, I'm tired. Thank you
sir.
very much. The city of Greenwood, and I'm going to try and get involved in the city I'm moving to. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's not the problem.
That's all I had. That's all I had, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, special requests and continuances. We have one PC 2022-074, Oliver Springs primary plat. Is there a petitioner to ask for that? Request that.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Olson. I'm a development manager with the Garrett Companies. Our address is 1051 Greenwood Springs Boulevard. And we are requesting a continuance to the 11/28 Planning Commission meeting to give us some time to work through some commitments, discussions with staff.
Okay, is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Motion?
I have a question first.
Okay.
For Ms. Coons, I believe this is the second continuance, and you're only allowed 2 continuances.
Well, you don't actually have a limit.
Oh, you don't?
No, it's for good cause shown. You can give as many as you determine to give. Don't limit them.
And I maybe have to recheck, I think the petitioner has to, I think that plan commission can offer additional continuances, but they have 2 that they can request.
So there's been a request. I need a motion. Good.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Walker, and second by
Mr. President.
thank All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Stevie, you have a meeting minutes to sign? That's great. Okay. So, no other special requests or continuances? Seeing none. Under old business, hearing of notice of non-compliance in order to vacate Red Carpet Inn, Fana Suites. Who's here to present for that? Good evening.
I'm William Barrett, I'm here for the city. Presenting witnesses with testimony, exhibits for your consideration. Have a binder of exhibits for you. I served a copy of those documents on the respondents' original attorneys before our original settlement.
Let the record show that evidence has been presented to the Plan Commission.
Accepted into the record.
Yes. Ready.
I might, as soon as I get a little light, I'll be ready to call my first witness. Called Kenneth Steele. Yeah.
Want to administer the oath? Mr. Chair. Do you swear to please perjury? The testimony is due to best knowledge.
We're going to share this microphone, Mr. Steele, so if you'd stand right there, please. State your name for the record, please.
Kenneth Steele,
And tell us your educational background, please.
high school,
And what's your training background?
building, plumbing,
How long have you been in that field?
about 22 years.
And how long have you been working for the city of Greenwood?
3.5 years.
In what capacity?
Began as a building inspector, and about 2 years ago, or thereabout, I was promoted to building commissioner.
In your capacity as the building commissioner of the city of Greenwood, are you familiar with the property at 1117 East Main Street?
Yes, sir.
And what is that property?
The Red Carpet Inn.
And how is it that you come to be familiar with it?
Well, of course, it's a local hotel that operates in the city of Greenwood, and it has, over the years, been the subject of several inspections and violations.
Was one of those inspections in June of 2021?
It was,
And did you attend that inspection?
I did not.
As a result of that inspection, however, which I'll talk about with the other witnesses, did you issue a notice of abatement?
That I did concerning violations that were found by inspectors.
And is that exhibit 1 in this folder?
Yes, it is.
So as a result of the notice of abatement, what was supposed to have happened at the hotel?
What should have happened was the owner should have corrected the issues that were identified.
And did the process for correcting the issues include negotiation between your office and the owner?
Not necessarily negotiation. We did meet several times concerning violations, which ultimately led to the issuance of a permit. I would say negotiation, but making sure that the outline and scope of work were correct and accurate.
Are you familiar with the pages listed in Exhibit 2, contained in Exhibit 2?
I am.
Now, those were prepared by the county health department, correct?
That is correct.
What did your office use these pages for?
Those were part of the submittal for the permit that was issued in November.
So were the items listed in Exhibit 2 items that were to be corrected?
That is correct.
And what was the scope of work that was to be performed under the permits?
So there was, off the top of my head, of course, you have it there in Exhibit 2. There was a laundry list of items that did not work. Those items are required to be operational in order to be, considered a habitable space, if you will.
So give us some examples. The sorts of things.
Yep, so there's a lot of PTAC units, HVAC units that were inoperable, leaking, bath fans, plumbing that was inoperable, electrical outlets and switches that were either inoperable, missing. In some instances, there was exposed wiring, things of that nature. In addition to the laundry list of items that discrepancies within the units, the owner also wanted to do a couple of upgrades as well to the kitchen area.
And was that a process? Well, strike that. When was the permit issued approximately?
Mid-November.
Of 2021.
That is correct.
And about how long would you have expected it to take for the corrections to have been made?
With my experience, if somebody were motivated to get them corrected and hired the appropriate trades, facilitated the environment for that work to be completed, likely a couple of months.
Sometime after the permit was issued, was there a death at the hotel?
Quite a few months later, yes.
And were there, in addition to that death, did the city receive any additional complaints about it?
The city had received a number of complaints. I believe, I don't want to speak on their behalf, but Jones and County Health Department as well.
In September of this year, was there another inspection?
Yes, it was.
Did you participate in that inspection?
I did.
Could you identify for the commissioners what Exhibit 5 is?
Exhibit 5 by itself or the
All 100 pages. Don't go. What is it?
I apologize. I didn't know if each one carried its own exhibit. These appear to be the photos taken by myself, the health department, and the fire department for our inspection.
And we're not going to require the commissioners to narrate each of the 100 photos. But what is the first one? Sir?
Room 615.
generally, what do the photos? If you want to walk through, point to all the pages are numbered.
So, regardless of the photo that you turn to, you're gonna find a level of dilapidation that is unbelievable once you see it either in person or in a photo. I would say that, nearly every room has some level of violation. Some of those photos were not taken just on redundancy. It would have been impossible to have photographed every cockroach or, an inoperable toilet doesn't show that it's inoperable in a photograph, so we limited it to around 100%.
Cockroaches, inoperable toilets. Tell the commissioners the sorts of things that you saw.
Right, yep, so again, in some cases, items inoperable, like bathroom ventilation things that were inoperable, leaking plumbing.
Just the mold.
Yeah, there was mold in quite a few rooms. We had inoperable HVAC units, we had missing HVAC units. We had rooms exposed to the outdoors, inoperable doors. On the second floor, of one of the buildings, I'm sorry it's not coming to me, but there's a leak so bad it required very large trash cans or like laundry buckets to catch and retain the water.
Buckets have been placed there before you arrived. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. They were probably about a third full. So we're talking 15, 20 gallons of water retaining them at the time due to the roof leak. So, of course, that's a, normal things.
What about the showers?
Most of them were really just disgusting. Some of them were inoperable. A lot of them were leaking. Unfortunately, disgusting is a violation.
Were there bed bugs?
There was. They were identified by the health department. There was a wide range of bugs that I'm actually not a bug expert, so they were identify them all.
Anything else about the condition of the rooms revealed in the photos that you want to point out to the commissioners?
Not so specific. Like I said, each room had, a violation or a multitude of them, many of which, would prove that room to be inhabitable, that area to be inhabitable.
You mean uninhabitable?
Uninhabitable. But I
You said inhabitable twice. Is that what you meant?
uninhabitable.
I don't want to tell you what you mean. Let's use a different phrase.
Okay.
Not capable of being habitated.
That would be correct. At the end of the day, when we talk about some of these violations, much like the mold, much like the cockroaches, these things, you can't just close the door and think that it's going to be there. When you have electrical issues, in the manner in which they do, it's only a matter of time. You really got to cross your fingers because I'm sure the fire department can speak to the large amount of fires that happen due to faulty wires or electrical issues. When you combine it all together, it's difficult to allow the public unknowingly to open one of those doors. It's one thing for somebody to say that they would live there, or if they do live there, maybe it's not so bad. But unfortunately, whether or not somebody would live there, it's not the litmus test. That's whether or not it's occupiable to a citizen here in the city of Greenwood.
As a result of this inspection in September of this year, did you issue a pair of orders, first on September 30th, and then as outlined in Exhibit 6 on October 11th?
I did.
Can you explain to the commissioners what Exhibit 6 is?
Right, so in accordance with IC 3697, I believe, there's a requirement to notify a recipient or owner establishment of a potential hearing, whatever there is in order to vacate. So what this notice is basically acknowledging that nothing really has been done, where nothing measurable had been done from the previous order.
Sorry, the previous order was the June of 21.
June of 24, that's correct. And in addition to that, basically recognizing that some things had even escalated or gotten worse. And so, the order to vacate was issued, order of non-compliance. And with that, for the state guidelines, there's a notice of hearing, which was October 24th.
And on October 24th, did you appear here in front of the planning commission?
I did.
And at that time, was the respondent owner represented by an attorney?
He was.
And did the attorney and I put forth an agreement to the planning commission regarding the continuance of that event or that hearing that night?
Yes.
And was the hearing that the facility would be vacated in 48 hours?
That is correct.
And was there an agreement that if it weren't vacated, that the city would have the ability to seek an injunction to order the vacation of the premises?
That is correct.
And as a result of that agreement, were the premises vacated?
No.
Has the city filed a lawsuit to force the vacation of the premises through an injunction?
Yes.
Did you visit the premises today?
I did, accompanied by Fire Marshal Tracy Lovell.
I have another set of photos for you. These are taken today. You haven't received a copy of these. Oh, thank you, I got that. Those are yours. Mr. Steele, would you describe the photos that are in Exhibit 8, please? There's fewer than 100. Take a look through, tell the commissioners what they're saying.
So in part, it's basically there's a list of rooms that we were notified of via complaint received by email that the hotel is still being occupied with great detail. So myself and the fire marshal did follow up on that, and we did find that on the last page is just a screenshot of that. In any event, we visited the hotel. Those rooms, with the exception of one, were indeed occupied. You can see that there's a series of issues here with smoking, drug paraphernalia. You've got blockaded doors. One of the concerning was towards the back, you'll see notice a door with an exit sign on it. When we were departing that building, which was the second, route to the third building, We attempted to walk out and not being able to, it was dark. So it's actually only lit in that area because of the flash of my camera. Then you'll see that there's actually two areas where they used angle iron to close that. Now, that's especially concerning because in many of the rooms that we walked in, the smoke detectors weren't operable. There's obviously smoking, cigarettes, and apparent drug use taking place. And we have exits, identified exits closest to those occupied rooms, which are bolted shut. So that's a poor decision on whoever did that. I understand it may be, to keep people out. But the unfortunate consequences is they have reversed those individuals. Yeah, each of the photos shows, there's 2 photos per room. Basically, acknowledging the occupancy still taking place.
And speaking of acknowledging the occupancy, did you speak to anybody there today?
Yes, several people.
How many people did you talk to?
Personally 3.
What'd you ask?
Common stuff about what was going on at the hotel, about what was going on as we walked through. What that walked with us, he's here tonight, and whatever we spoke to. Gentleman was actually exiting the room, and we had a conversation.
You asked any of these people,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah, they basically said that they knew that, they were ordered to get out, and then that night was frantic headache and these past days. They're slowly.
For now, I have only a couple more questions for you. Based on your training, your observation of these premises, mine, is this an unsafe building?
Absolutely, it's not one, but actually several of those definitions.
And is it your request tonight that the planning commission affirm your order of October 11th?
That it is, should they find it just.
I have nothing further at this time, Mr. Sealer. The owner may have some questions.
Can we speak for ourselves?
Finished with your witnesses?
I'm finished. Yeah, I'm sorry, Henry. I said I have no further questions at this time of this witness. Thank you.
He may
You need to be,
cross-examine or present. Yes.
okay.
I'm not concluding my case though, so if the owner is preparing to present his case, I'd ask that he be instructed to wait. If he has questions for Mr. Seal, now's the time for that.
You may cross-examine this
Sure.
witness.
He needs to be sworn. He needs to be sworn.
Do you swear to perjury?
I'm sorry?
Do you swear?
I do. Go ahead. Allow me to introduce myself, because I'm sorry, but I'm not a total stranger to you. My name is Ahmed, and we are not enemies of the city of Toledo. We are friends of the city of Toledo.
Limit it to your cross-examination, sir, and you'll have a time to present
Sure.
after the conclusion of this
Thank you.
case in chief.
When I first met Mr. Seal, and I really like Mr. Seal, I still do. And I thought we can really work together in view of his capacity, his position.
I'm going to object that this is not,
Excuse
Right.
me, you are not cross-examining.
Do you have questions for Mr. Seal?
Yeah,
Based on the testimony that he has just given.
Okay. Proceed with your questions.
the permit that Mr. Steele issued me, that was issued for the kitchen, like he said. The kitchen, I don't think he ever went into the kitchen last time or this time.
Same
But we
objection.
report,
Same objection.
we can't see anything here.
Just want you to ask him questions like today. When you were in there, did you see a big difference and then you were in there a year ago?
No, he already said that.
I know.
But he was instructed to say what he said.
Right.
That's fine.
They want you to
We're gonna move to strike that assertion.
ask.
You go into the kitchen to see it today? Yeah. Okay. So him is the big part. We refloored the whole kitchen and we painted it.
And no
Same
statements,
objection.
no statements, please. Ask him
Yeah.
questions.
The permit, I gave the permit to a contractor, he never showed up to do the hood. So that is one.
Sir,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
the purpose of a cross-examination is the direct testimony that Mr. Seal just provided. You may ask questions about only those specific questions asked. You will have a point in time where you can present your case
Sure.
and make your statements and your opinion of the matter of the facts.
Thank
okay?
you, I appreciate it. Mr. Steele, you said you saw cockroaches. How many of those cockroaches you saw?
Today or?
Today,
Yes. Today we witnessed it.
you just saw one? Okay. There's almost 8 acres of land, vegetation, and 4 buildings, and Mr. Steele saw one cockroach during out this whole day. Thank you, Mr. Steele. How many people you said you saw working, Mr. Steele, today?
Oh, working, there was quite a few.
A
Probably.
few, how many, like 50, 100, 2, 3? I thought you said there was 3 people that you saw.
Objection, the witness needs to be allowed to answer the question. It's arguing with the witness. It's not a debate.
So I spoke with 3 people. The question previously was how many people did I speak with? It was 3. How many people did I witness working? It was probably 6 or 7.
So 3, we are
Objection,
sure.
objection, it's not time for the owner to testify.
Right. But yeah, we're just asking questions right now. You'll have your opportunity.
And how many smoke detectors you said, Mr. Steele, that you saw or you found that were not operational, that had batteries sitting next to them, or were about to be supplied with batteries? Out of 180 smoke detectors on site, how many did you find without batteries today?
Sir, today was a compliance check. We walked into 12 to 15 rooms, identified previously for compliance of a previous order. It was not an inspection of each of the rooms. I believe your staff can testify that we actually have this.
So, Mr. Steele, you did not find any smoke detectors that were not operational today. Is that what I understand from what we're saying?
I believe the fire marshal identified 3 or 4. He could probably-
3 or 4 out of 200 rooms. Because some of the storage rooms, we have 2, not just 1.
Again, we only went into.
Thank you, Mr. Steele.
How many rooms did you visit today?
That we actually walked in around and out of was probably 10 or 15. That we walked by that were open, which of course is quite a few. Actual rooms that were on our list was about 10.
Next witness is Fire Marshal Tracy Rumble. Sir, can you state your name for the record, please?
Tracy Rumble,
And what do you do for a living, sir?
currently fire marshal for the city of Greenwood,
And how long have you been fire marshal?
since
March of 2017, I believe.
And what'd you do before that?
I was lieutenant of fire prevention.
And how long have you been a professional fireman?
Professional one, 23 years,
And a volunteer one before that?
15 years,
So 30 years.
38 years, 1984.
What training have you had to, both in firefighting and to be a fire marshal?
I have a bachelor's degree in fire protection and safety engineering. I have state certifications for inspections, investigation, public education, and state fields.
What's your role as fire marshal for the city of Greenwood?
To oversee inspections, investigations, and public education.
In that capacity, are you familiar with the property we've been talking about tonight, 1117 East Main Street?
Yes, sir.
And did you join in the inspection that Mr. Steele spoke about that occurred in June of last year?
Yes, sir.
And just generally, you would tell the commission what you observed.
Ring with smoke detectors not working, batteries not present, battery doors open. My main thing is when I go in, that's what I check.
I'd like you to take a look at Exhibit 3, and it's several pages, but if you could explain to the commissioners what that is.
That's a normal fire inspection report.
And for the inspection that occurred in June of 21 at the hotel,
Yes.
and what does it show?
Shows emergency lights out. Shows a corridor with some back in it, green decorations.
How many rooms does it cover? Give or take. How
The
many-
whole hotel.
How many violations approximately? 1, 2, 40, 50?
25, 30. But the majority of those are duplicates, like smoke detectors in 25 or 30 rooms.
You don't mean you broke the same violation 25 or 30 times?
No, but I made a
The same
list.
type of violation.
Right, the same
across.
type. Correct. And even
So go ahead.
Even today, I found at least 3. One that was on the city received an email today of, hey, come check these out, they've been fixed. First one I looked at, room 105, the battery doors open, no battery in the smoke detector. That was a room that the owner wanted checked off so that he could occupy. Another room I looked at didn't have a battery today. Another room I looked at today, the maintenance guy said he had batteries for him. Again, in the email we got today, the owner says all smoke detectors have been repaired with batteries replaced. Then I found another one, that people that like to smoke in rooms that say no smoking, always just pull the battery out just a hair so that they don't touch. And I'm sure one of your pictures shows that. So I found one of those. So,
And, okay, we've gone from June of last year to
Sorry.
November of this year, that's okay. I just want to keep the timeline so the commissioners follow. They haven't spent as much time with us as we're on. So after June of last year, and that inspection, did you take any further action in 2021?
I don't think so.
Were you part of the inspection that Mr. Steele and I discussed in September of this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and could you explain to the commissioners exhibit 4
The inspection report from the fire department.
from the September
From the
visit,
September,
September inspection, and tell them what you found then?
Same thing, storage rooms all stacked in with no organization whatsoever, just piled, filled with mattresses or beds or everything, smoke detectors that didn't work, smoke detectors without batteries, rooms without smoke detectors. So, and my biggest concern, I guess, is when I point these out, the owner always complains it's the people that stay there that do that. But then some of his maintenance people or some of his employees, those rooms were in violation. So hopefully he would have control of his employees, where he says he doesn't have control of people that stay.
The employees who live in there?
Correct.
From June of last year till November of this year, would you agree with me, that's 17 months?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Is 17 months sufficient time in your training and experience to fix the problems that you identified in June of last
Of my problems, absolutely.
year? Yes, I'm only talking about fire problems.
Yep,
that you
absolutely.
identified in exhibit 3.
Oh, yeah.
Is from September of this year until November of this year sufficient time to fix the problems you identified in your reports from Exhibit 4
Absolutely.
and get found further violations to it?
Yeah, in fact, we went back on October 27th to double check to make sure the property has been vacated. And the owner informed me at that time that he had ordered batteries from the dollar store, either Dollar Tree or Dollar General, I don't know which one. He had ordered them. So, but if, not saying he should, but if that was my hotel, I would go to my Walmart, go wherever and buy batteries and take care of it. I wouldn't order them. So I would take care of it.
Based on your training, experience, and observations, is the hotel in violation of the laws that you're charged with enforcing?
Absolutely.
I have nothing further at this time. The owner may wish to cross-examine.
You're welcome to question.
So what is your last name, Tracy?
Rumble,
Rumble?
rumble.
Rumble?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tracy, Mr. Rumble. So one witness says 3 smoke detectors and one witness says 1 smoke detector.
Is there a question for Mr. Rumble?
Your colleague inspector said 1 smoke detector, now you said 3.
Right, he went with me.
And Mr. Robin, if you will allow me to say something, your perception of safety hangs on
Objection.
and missing battery
Where's
and
the
the smoke
question?
detector. I'm asking a question, I talk to him.
Yeah, you'll have a chance to make your
Thank you.
statements,
Yeah.
but right now it's questions.
Yeah. Is your perception of safety, Mr. Robin, hangs on just the 9-volt battery and the smoke detector? Are you aware that there are hardwired 45 smoke detectors in the buildings? Are you aware of that?
In the hallways, do you let your people sleep in the hallway?
No, but the hallway detector detects the room. They're just a couple of feet from the hallway, Mr. Robin, and you know that. And you know the hardwire detector is a lot more sensitive than the smoke, than the battery operated smoke.
You can read all the studies you want to. That's why they're required to be in the rooms. Because people sleep in the rooms and wake up in the rooms.
I'm not reading studies, Mr. Robin. I happen to be National Authority on Fire and Safety, OSHA, what they call it.
Ocean and fire and safety are totally different things.
Well, we'll get to that.
1910, 1926. Which OSHA? 1910, 1926?
We will come to that. But Mr. Robin,
I have that too.
I try to explain. Are you aware that the buildings have, at least each building has 50 exits, entry and exits, in each building of these 3 floor buildings? Are you aware of that or not?
Ones that work or ones that are bolted shut?
There was a door adjusted to it. that
No,
was-
I'm talking about the exit doors. If something happens,
Exit core.
if all the smoke detectors go down, you have 50 exits and inlets in each of the buildings, Mr. Robin. Are you aware of that or not? 50, almost 50 exits and entrance to each building. Are you aware of that or not? 50 exits and entrance, yeah, you can call it exits if you want, including the balconies, and we are 2-story building. Are you aware of that? Or your safety concept only hinges on a battery operated smoke detector, the battery is not there.
You want to talk about the windows?
Did
that
you
don't
check,
work, or-
Mr. Robin? Did you
Objection.
check?
Objection. The witness
Where-
needs to be allowed to answer
Where are
that.
you getting
Please,
50? Are you got the windows that don't work?
Please, go ahead, answer.
That
Please.
was it, that probably was the word.
Mr. Ahmed, you're badgering the witness. I need you to ask specific questions. I
Yes, sir.
don't need you making statements.
Yes, sir.
Answer.
So you can go out 50 doors. 50 exits.
Mr. Rumble,
Excuse me, yeah.
please direct your comments to the commissioners.
Mr. Romero, excuse me. Do you believe that the fire suppression system is part of the overall safety system or not?
You don't have a fire suppression system.
We don't have a fire suppression system? I asked respectfully
What's,
Your question.
Everybody
listens to him.
to go now and see the premises. We have several fire extinguishers on each floor in the buildings.
Okay,
And
Mr.
the
Ahmed,
fire
you
marshal
are not
says-
here to make statements. please
That's-
limit
Fire marshal says, you don't have
Questions?
fire suppression.
to Mr.
That's not a
Rumble
fire
based on
suppression
his direct
What is that,
testimony.
what is the fire extinguisher? What is new?
Fire extinguishers are made to put out the fire, but it's not a
Exactly.
suppression
That's
system.
how,
The
that's,
system automatically goes
Mr.
off,
Mott, you're out of order.
like a sprinkler system.
okay.
That's
That's what
the
the
fire
question from
suppression.
this is. Thank you.
Mr. Rumble, please finish what you were saying about the distinction between the fire suppression system and a fire extinguisher.
So fire extinguisher is for a first line of defense. If you have a small fire in an incipient stage, which is when it first starts, then you can use a fire extinguisher to put it out. A fire suppression system is, there's a couple different types, not to bore you, but in the kitchen, there's a hood system that can go off automatically. If your grease gets too hot, you have a fire, or you can pull a pull station in and dump it. That is one type of fire suppression system. Another fire suppression system is water, a sprinkler system that we have in this building. If you look up, you can see the heads. And then a third type of fire suppression system is one called the oxygen removal system, which takes a room down below 14% oxygen so that a fire cannot even start. So those are fire suppression systems, not fire extinguishers.
What sort of fire suppression system is the hotel
Please.
required to have?
Nothing right now. Just the extinguishers, but then that's not a system.
And it doesn't have a system, is that correct?
No, it's not something.
Are there 50 entrances or exits to any of those buildings?
No.
How many are there?
The building B and C, there's two, one on each end. And then the main building, I would say there's 3 or 4. I'd have to double check.
Are there balconies on some of the roofs?
There's balconies, yeah.
Do those balconies, to your knowledge, have ladders leading from them to the ground?
No.
How would someone exit from a balcony? In regard to the smoke detectors in the hall, does the law anticipate that people in hotels sleep behind closed doors?
Yes.
And is that the reason that the law requires the rooms to have working smoke detectors?
Yes.
I have nothing further of this witness. Call Betsy Square now. Julie Swan. Good evening, ma'am. What's your name for the record, please?
Betsy Swearingen.
How are you employed?
I'm the director of the Johnson County Health Department.
How long have you been so employed?
I have worked for the Johnson County Health Department in January. It will be 20 years.
And if you could tell the commission a little bit about your training and your background in education.
I have a bachelor in science, in environmental science from Indiana University. I have worked for a public health department since October of 1993 and have been the director since 2017.
And the job starting in '93, was that here in Johnson County?
No, it was in Marion County.
And when did you come to Johnson?
I came to Johnson County in January 2nd of 2002.
In your capacity at the Johnson County Health Department, are you familiar with the premises at 1117 East Main Street, Greenwood? And how is it that you're familiar?
We, the health department receives complaints frequently on the building. We used to inspect their swimming pool. We used to license and inspect their swimming pool. We no longer do that. We also used to license and inspect their food facility or their kitchen breakfast area, and we no longer do that.
Why is that in both of those instances?
The pool is in extreme disrepair, and extensive repairs would have to be made to that and to the filtration system for us to issue a permit for them to operate that swimming pool. With regard to the food, I don't recall, I'm sorry, I did not pull my records on the last time that they have held a food permit, but they currently are not using that area.
Did you participate in the June 2021 inspection that's been discussed tonight?
I've personally been at all of the major joint inspections with the city and fire department.
And I'll refer you to what's Exhibit 2 in our notebook and ask if you could talk about what that document or those several pages are.
Sure, in deciding that the frequency of complaints dictated thorough inspection of the complete property. I brought my entire environmental staff who are responsible for doing these types of inspections. We blocked off a day to inspect room by room. We went room to room to look for very specific things, things that are a necessity to habitate, that is water, heat. If there's air conditioning, the air conditioning is supposed to be functioning. And when we say water, that has to be hot and cold running water. There has to be electricity. There has to, and like I said, a means of heating and cooling if the cooling is present. We also do look for vector and rodent infestation, gross sanitation, and environmental contaminants such as mold.
And is Exhibit 2 a list of the
It
things
is,
that fall under?
it's a room by room. Now, it's not the actual, we do have copies of the actual reports from each room. It was a paper copy, and then we just compiled that into a list, starting in numerical order, what was observed in the room and what needs to be corrected.
And did you hear Mr. Seal testify that your Exhibit 2 served as the basis for the repairs to be made pursuant to the permit that his office issued?
I did.
You have attended subsequent inspections, I understand, is that correct?
Prior and subsequent, yes.
Yes, we'll go to prior momentarily, but let's talk about subsequent. Let's talk about September of this year. Could you explain to the commission what Exhibit 7 is?
Exhibit 7 is copies of the room by room inspections taken by my inspectors, and then after that, there was an Excel spreadsheet sent to the owner indicating what needed to be repaired as well.
And could you explain, again, just as with the photos, we've got 100 pages here. We're
Sure.
not going to walk them through
Sure.
each page. But could you explain the summary of what these reports show?
Right, we have 95 reports. Those 95 reports, 12 of those rooms were deemed to be okay. And what okay means is maybe there was 1 or 2 minimal violations that needed to be repaired. We had many rooms are referred to as out of service. There were much more rooms out of service on the 2022 inspection than the 2021 inspection. I think that's a catch-all for, we'll get to it when we get to those rooms. If they take them out of service, then they feel like they don't need to repair them. So I would say of a grand total, roughly, without the rooms out of service, 74 of them were in need of necessary repair.
In addition to the 95 room reports, were there also reports on the buildings?
Right, there on the buildings themselves. There were abandoned vehicles in the parking lot. I know as we were walking out of the 2022 inspection, there was an open refrigerator with the door still attached on it, and that's considered an emergency violation because a small child could get inside that refrigerator and close and they would suffocate. So yes, we noticed lots of things outside in the hallways, in their storage rooms. In a lot of rooms were not made of, I don't want to say a lot of rooms, a handful of rooms, always in each building were not made available to us to inspect.
And if you could summarize the sorts of concerns that led to the reports that talk about hazard, was it mold, was it electrical, was it water? If you explain.
I would say that the majority of our complaints come from out-of-town guests who Google the facility and look online at the pictures and the videos and come on site and realize that they pull their sheets back and they're soiled, or there's bugs, or there's holes, or people have left other things in their room that they're renting for the evening that does not lead to cleanliness. And though we would get other complaints from what they call their long-term residents that actually live in these rooms, We don't get very many complaints from those people because if they complain, then they no longer are allowed to stay at the facility or allowed to rent rooms. And those are the ones of bigger concern. We have families of 4 living in a 2-bedroom with a bathroom and a complete household worth of stuff in the room. So those are our go-to concerns. And yes, we look for mold. We look for the other items that I told you about, and we frequently find all of those problems in the room.
Sewage.
We have found rooms that had, one of the Fanta Suites, when we walked through this past time, 2 of them actually had sewage and feces dried on the floor that had backed up from the jacuzzi tub.
Did those rooms appear to be occupied?
They didn't appear not to be occupied. I can't state whether, a lot of rooms were not occupied at the time of business. The majority of the rooms that were occupied, like I said, are the long-term stay rooms.
What are the health concerns that you have for persons?
One, they are a fire hazard if there is no working smoke detector in every room. A lot of rooms had their balcony doors weren't working, or just period, I mean, toilets didn't flush, water didn't go down the toilet, water didn't back up into the bathtub. Carpets are stained, the sheets are stained and old. And to whether or not they're dirty, we don't smell them or anything of the sort. We would, be able to make that distinction, but just not appear to be as clean as necessary.
When was the first time you had to make an inspection?
I can't recall the first time I was there. Primarily when I first came to Johnson County, I was the assistant indoor air specialist at the Marion County Public Health Department prior, and I was brought down to work more on our housing and our indoor air program. So I've been to the hotel on many occasions. I've been in a room there that still has issues, and placed my hand on the wall, and if I pushed hard enough because of the mold, it could have, I don't know if it would have gone all the way through, but it was fairly damaged. So I've been there for those inspections. In 2017, I would say we did our first group inspection like this, and many of the violations that existed in 2017 still existed in 2021 and 2022.
In your opinion, based on your training, your experience, and your observations, is that 5-year period enough to cure those violations?
In an emergency situation such as sewage, we usually give about a 48-hour window to take care of those things.
You and I are talking about 5 years.
I
I have nothing further at this time. The owner may have some questions for you. Thank you, ma'am.
I would ask that you refrain from statements and ask specific questions, please.
Let's see, I have a lot of respect for you. But you said sewage was coming out of the hot tub?
No, I didn't say it was coming
I
out of
just
the hot
heard you
tub.
say that.
I said we presumed that it came out of the hot tub or the toilets or the tubs. It was all over the bedroom floor going out the back door.
Do you have any clue about the engineering of that hot tub and the sewer system and the hotel?
She's only here to testify of what she's seen. She doesn't know the operation. I won't speak for her, but
Yes, sir, but the sewage coming out of the hot tub was assumed, just.
No, I
Okay.
observed
It is-
raw sewage on the floor. I didn't see it coming out of the tub. I didn't
Thank
see it
you,
coming out.
Ms.
I
Thank you.
didn't see it
Thank
coming
you.
out of the sinks,
Thank
but
you.
that's usually where it comes from.
Especially, we came today to your office to acquire a report that
Yes,
was issued back in September of 21.
yes.
Did you provide that report?
Objection,
We
only
did.
outside what we're here to talk about.
From the,
This is not a deposition in litigation.
That was an
Please do not-
inspection report.
I would ask that I be allowed to speak. This is a hearing, one person at a time.
Yes, sir.
This is not a deposition. This is not the time for him to ask about documents from the Johnson County Health Department that have nothing to do with the evidence put forth by the city of Greenwood in this case. And we object.
I can answer, I'll answer the question if you'd like me to. They showed up in our office at 11 o'clock today and asked for every report that's been generated by our office. By law, we have 5 to 7 business days, and that should be in a written request. We went ahead and honored them. We said, that's not something we can pull together in a few minutes. If you could come back, she asked if 3 o'clock would be okay. She did actually represent herself as his lawyer.
No, I'm not.
You did.
Oh, man, you are dumb.
Order.
I was told, I'm sorry, I was told by my secretary when she came down to my office to ask me about that, that Doc was here, that's, we refer to him, that Doc was there with his lawyer and that they were requesting documents. I came down, I talked to him, I said we would put together what we could as quickly as possible. You have to understand about our record system is not everything we have is electronic. We're trying to get into that system. I also have 7 inspectors. I have secretaries that aren't privy to inspectors' records that they have on their desks. All of my inspectors were in the field today, so I didn't have a chance to double check to see if there were things on their computers that were not in what we call our public drive. So we thoroughly scrubbed our public drive. We pulled everything that we could find. Immediately after giving them a box full of documents, I can show you the size of the box of documents that we gave them because I brought those copies with me as well. They came back in and they asked specifically for 2 documents. We said, well, you know what, and they weren't completely sure of the dates of those inspections either. So I went back through my calendar and found that we did inspect the facility on June the 15th of 2021, and that documents were, we do have a report generated from that. It is an Excel spreadsheet. You are in a copy of that. I've also have emails documenting where those were sent to the Fantasuites email address. Now that person that those go to has changed hands, but we make sure that we leave all documents in any reports that are generated, we give to them on site.
That's my thing. Spencer, you say you assess the health situation, the health conditions. Did you take samples from the air to check for germs or anything? Did you take samples from the water against pathogens or anything?
Well, first of all, we would not test city water because city water is tested by the company that provides that water.
Now, for pathogens, they are not health.
It does not. There's no such
You
thing.
claim to be the
He
health.
answered your question.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
doesn't fall within our jurisdiction. There
Did
is,
you test the
there
air?
is
on
no,
this test?
there's no, a simple air test to test for a
How
pathogen
could
in
you
the air.
declare a place unhealthy to stay in without testing those things, Ms. Spencer?
If we see evidence of garbage, drugs, bugs, unclean sheets, trash, leftover materials of former
Germs,
guests,
Ms. Betsy, are a lot more important
will you
than
let her,
garbage.
will you let her finish?
so that's what we look for. And, you know, you have the right to refute my mold findings. Get it sampled. Prove me wrong.
I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
When it's your time. Go on.
I have nothing further for this witness at this time, and I have no further witnesses on my original case.
Okay,
I may call them again in response to what we hear from the owner.
okay.
But at this time, that concludes my evidence. I have a closing statement to make at the appropriate time.
All right.
Good evening.
Again, please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ahmed Mubarak. And I have a house 5646 Sweet River Drive in Indy. And I stay occasionally for management purposes at 1117 East Main. I want to apologize up front. I have a high vocal and I may sound like I'm speaking loud or shouting or something. I am a professor, actually, I hold the rank of full professor, and I am kind of used to speaking loud, so all my audience can hear me. But allow me just to note that as I started out to say, I am, and we are friends of the Greenwood city. We are not enemies of the Greenwood city, although at times we feel that we treat it that way. I, for one, and I don't mean to brag or anything, I'm a chemical engineer, and I carry a PhD, and I wrote over 60 technical papers in various engineering and science journals. But this is not important, and I carry the rank of a full professor. But this is not important. The important thing is, I have over 25 years of experience on inspection. I am an international inspector. My name is recorded in London with the IRCA, the International Register of Certified Auditors, and PECB in Canada, the Professional Evaluation and Certification Board. People call me from all over the world, and I go and do jobs for them. And with that, I carry the name of the city of Greenwood with me. Wherever I go on this planet, I carry the name of the city of Greenwood with me. And when I first came, I talked to the governor, Governor Mitch, and we wanted to get, I had a high delegation from Qatar to come and visit me, and I wanted to establish a dialogue between the outside world and the city of Greenwood. Governor was busy then, and he referred me to Mr. Meyer, the mayor, and we visited with Mr. Mayor, but it did not go any further since then. I know a thing or two about health inspection. In fact, I have a degree, associate degree, from the Royal Society of Health in London. And when I went to undergrad school, I was the campus health inspector. Prior to that, I was a hospital health inspector. So I know a thing or two about health. I know a thing or two about occupational health and safety. Just as much about quality, as much about environment. Nobody on this planet would like to see the premises that I manage better than anywhere else, as good as and as best as it can be. But there are some limitations in place. One of them is staffing. After COVID, we were hit hard with COVID, and we're not staffed as good as we need to be. And I lost, to our unfortunate situation, we lost two managers. One moved on and one passed on. So we have been without actually a manager for ever since, and we took a dip. I'm not saying we are in the best of shapes. No, I myself say we're not, but we're working on it. And since the last time that we were notified, and allow me to share something with you. In my 25, 30 years experience on inspection and auditing and all over the world, I have never, ever assembled myself, I'm a lead inspector, ever assembled an inspection team more than 2 or 3 at the most. We get inspected by 50 people. Not 1 or 2 or 10 or 20. These are raids, these are not inspection. If I am genuine about the place I am inspecting, I raise what I call the findings that I see, the positive ones and the negative ones. Then I sit with the people, the process owners, the people that do these things, and get together with them on the causes of these things and how to go about them, especially that we are a business in a city and state that care about those businesses. But none of that happens. All we get are raids last year and this year. And everybody is walking around, opening rooms that are supposed to be on maintenance and locked. No guests allowed to go in. Rooms that are on change. No guests are supposed to go in until they are ready. Inspecting hotels are also come under my codes. And you go into inspecting a hotel, you only inspect the rooms that are ready to check in guests. That's where you check everything, but not rooms that are on maintenance or rooms that are on change, because they are there to be fixed. And allow me to say something else also. The Fanny Suites is the only monument in this country that is labeled, that has its own character, that no place else in this country, in the whole of the US, is like. There are thousands and thousands of Hiltons and Ramadas and Holiday Inns or what have you. There are hundreds of Hiltons in MD. There are Hiltons a couple of miles away from where we are, but there is no Fanny Suite hotel anywhere in this country. And people come to us from other states, way away from Indiana, to come to the Fanny Suite hotel. And it's a 50-year-old building, 50-year-old premises, but we're trying to do our best to bring it up to code, to bring it up to where I, for one, would want it to be. This crew here has been working very hard to come to that level. If you are genuine, when you go and inspect the place that you care about, that you genuinely need it to come up and help that business come up, you sit with that business and discuss the problems that they have, and they try to help them. That's my book. That's my philosophy as an inspector. I'm open to questions. If I may, Chairman, Mr. Chairman, if I may call on Amanda, please. She has been working the most in this campaign, and so is Chastity, please. And if you allow me, sir, please.
Do they need?
One last second.
They need to be sworn in, please.
Yeah, one last second. Not too long ago, sir. Not too long ago. A professional guy, fire marshal, came to the premises. His name is John. Did the inspection very professionally. When I say professionally, he arranged the timing with Mr. Harold. Well, he's the maintenance guy in charge of the fire and safety. And why scheduled inspections are important? Why do we schedule inspections? To make sure that the process owners are there, to spare the time for the inspector to talk to him and tell him all about the things that he sees. This is systematic inspection, what we call systematic inspection. That gentleman came to the premises and filed this highly professional report. That report does not say the place is risky, or the place is not safe, or the place is going to catch fire anytime. No, sir. It only talked about exit signs, how to improve, make them more bright, how to make the exit signs bright. And this is, if I may leave it for the gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, to go through and see what it's like.
you have any objection to the exhibit?
Please.
Okay.
It's a date on it. Go ahead.
Suppose here. They started talking about the place being unsafe and hazardous to stay in. I considered my opinion to be biased some. I inspected nuclear power plants for safety. I report to the top authority in the military. The military, Secretary Austin, trust me with the standards to maintain and improve on the military standards of the US military. But I said, no, my opinion may be a little bit biased. So I went to a professional inspection company and add that as the structural people there to inspect the premises for structural damage, for unsafe condition, and what have you. And this is the report they filed. And if you'll allow me to read just one statement from that report that summarizes everything. No safety issues were observed, generally. The roofing and roofing material appeared safe for occupancy at the time of inspection. This is available for anybody to look at. We serve as that.
Are you moving to put that into evidence, sir?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Mr.
Please.
Barrett, would you like to review to see if you have any objection?
No objection.
All we are asking for,
Hold on for Mr. Barrett to finish his review. And then we'll-
It's all right, man.
Go ahead.
we don't want to feel, sir, we are in a communist place, heaven forbid. This is the United States of America. This is the leader of the free world, where the customer, the client decides this business stays, this business grows, that business goes away. Not the state dictates what businesses we should have in the city of our state. And we are here to work harder and getting compliance. We need to hope. Costs us $50,000 or so for that place, utilities and overhead and what have you. The city of Greenwood, this time, a few days ago, debited our account for $4,500 between sewer and stormwater. $4,500. We can't get that money if we are there. We can't pay these employees if we are there. We can't pay for repairs if we are there. Is that too much to ask, ladies and gentlemen? I invested my whole life into this premises. And I came back to Greenwood, Indiana. And I'm glad I did. And I take pride when I go out all over the country to say I'm from Greenwood, Indiana. Because they ask, where's this guy coming from that's telling us what to do? Oh, this guy is so and so. as clients, as tax-paying clients, tax-paying citizens, we expect to look at the credentials of the inspectors that come to us. And we have the right to accept or reject those inspectors if we do not see they are fit, if we do not see they can help us. And I am willing, sir, Mr. Chairman, to help streamline and organize the inspection process for the city of Greenwood. May I give the floor, Mr. Chairman, to my colleagues, Ms. Suarez. Thank you.
Hello. For the record, my name is Amanda Shaw. I am the Deputy Operations Manager at Red Carpet Picnic Suites. First and foremost, I would like to say I never represented myself as an attorney to anyone, ever. I will be filing agreements, and I've already started that while I was sitting over there. That is not okay, and it goes to character right there. But first and foremost, this building, everything that they're saying, when I went up to the health department today, I went up there and I asked them point blank, do I have the records? The only records pertaining to June 24th of 2021.
Objection, we're here, we are here on an allegation of violation, and a notice of violation of the city of Greenwood for being an unsafe building. The county is not a party. The records of the county are not implicated. If they think they are, they could have asked you for a continuance. But whether the county cooperated with them or had a duty or didn't is beyond the scope of what's in front of you tonight.
If I may answer to that, actually, it says the building commissioner and the health department was all a part of this, and it's right in the paperwork that they served us.
Ma'am, could you
So-
then please limit your testimony to the unsafe building orders that are the subject of this hearing this evening?
I actually am, that's what I'm talking about. When the unsafe building, they're saying that the health department and the building inspector inspected that building. And they're all both saying that it was unsafe due to mold, cockroaches, and so forth. Does that not go to the health department? Right, it does, okay. So,
What I was expecting was testimony where he was going to ask you questions, but apparently you are going to go on a narrative.
no, ma'am, I'm just gonna tell you a couple facts. But it sounds like you guys have already got your minds made up, which is
No.
unfair.
Ma'am,
No.
but we would like you to, that is not a process in how this works, but if you were going to do a narrative, do please keep it limited to the
Absolutely.
issues that are the subject of the hearing.
And I am so far. Like I was gonna say, we came into compliance in a lot. The building has, when I first got there, it was still not doing okay at all. When we seen everything, we have started to fix it. We have a couple maintenance guys. We've got better staff. If we have a chance, we will get everything caught up. We're not asking for anything that no other person is asking for. He's really trying. He is honestly really trying here. We know that the land is wanted. It's been spoken by the mayor herself. The land is wanted. We understand that. But why not, instead of tearing that down, why not simply help make it into something better? I don't understand that. If you want to say that, I mean, what we're trying to do with all the cleaning and, we've cleaned, we're working nonstop cleaning rooms and treating mold and.
I'm sorry.
Relations,
Beth,
please.
What's the witness's name, please?
Yeah, you state your.
Chastity Rose. We've been treating mold and we've purchased all new linens for all the rooms, all new comforters, new pillows, new pillowcases. We've been fixing our lighting, any leaks that we have. Our storage rooms have gotten cleaned out and cleared out. We've installed all the smoke detectors per code that are supposed to be in the buildings. We've gotten rid of and thrown away broken or used or furniture that looks terrible. We've replaced any non-working or broken toilets. There's no sewage leaks. There's no sewage leaks. We're replacing ceiling tiles that were damaged or broken. All of our exit lights, of course, are working. We've treated all of our mold. As far as that door that is locked, we have an adjustment, like, here's the exit, and right across from it is another suite that we have open, and the hotel is shut down, mind you, right now, okay? So it's only workers in there.
but we have an alternative exit on the opposite side of the building or on the opposite side of the hallway because that people were getting into the building and we did not want them to. So for our safety while working, we shut that one down and opened up another door opposite of it for the exit. So that would not cause any fire issues.
Anything else?
We took care of the outside. They wanted the cars to
The
go on.
cars, the abandoned vehicles are on, the dead trees that were wanted out of the yard are gone, but and disposed of properly.
We have bombed and sprayed for all the roaches and everything. They've seen one and last time
I'm
they were.
sorry, I
doing
don't object to the narrative and help us get through things quicker. I do object to two narratives at the same time.
We took care of the bug issue. They saw one bug today and that was out of them saying that they saw hundreds last time they were there in September of this year. So they saw one bug this time, you guys. That's a lot. We are really trying. I mean, you can't expect that if the hotel was full of bugs, you can't expect them to all be gone in under like a month and a half. But they saw one bug this time because we are diligently spraying, bombing, and making sure before we do have any more clients come in, that we don't want that. You know, we want the place clean. We want to have it. We want Greenwood to be proud of it. I mean, that's what we're trying for. We've done everything they've asked. We're trying. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no questions of these witnesses.
Okay.
I do have some redirects quickly from Mr. Seal
Yep.
and from Marshall Burris, Marshall Rumble. Mr. Seal, join me, please. Council, would you like some identification for the owner's inspection report? Respondents
Yeah,
name
like-
or something like that?
A letter, since you've used numbers.
Okay, Mr. Seal, you're still under oath, sir. Have you had a chance to look at the inspection report that Dr. Anna put in? And what was inspected by Access Home Inspections?
It appears that the roof and foundation, partial thereof, of 4 buildings were inspected.
Were any of the rooms inspected?
No.
And on page 3 of 7, if you would, please read into the record what the inspector has said for inspection type.
Again, structure. And I
No, read the whole
structure. This is limited scope inspection of 4 buildings. Scope includes the condition of the physical exterior foundations and visible roofing areas. I would also note, just as a professional, that the foundation visible, a foundation wall. Not the actual.
Thank you. If you look at page 7 of the report, what's the caption on page 7?
Not inspected, not present. Summary.
And what are the 2 notes under there and what topic?
For the roof, note number 1 is 4 buildings roof surface unable to inspect 10% HVAC equipment. Second note, main entryway roof structure unable to inspect 10% pitch of roof.
I don't have anything further from Mr. Seal.
Can I ask you, Mr. Steve? Mr. Chairman?
So that's on my questions, I suppose. I'll object to anything beyond the scope. It's my-
No, the scope is limited to the questions actually asked.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. C, you say you cannot see the foundation, so you cannot inspect it. But Mr. C, as you know, being a plant commissioner, the foundation is shot, it will show on the walls, cracks, horizontal or vertical. And that's what he was looking for. Inspect.
Is there a question here?
Yes, that was my question. You said,
I would agree that while there may be visible signs of structural damage that may be present on the exterior side of the wall,
thank you, Mr.
regardless, the foundation was still not.
Thank you, Mr. Steve.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. And Mr. Rumpel, please. Fire Marshal Rumble, have you had the opportunity to review the fire inspection report that Dr. Ahmed put in?
Yes,
And are you familiar with this document?
yes.
Could you explain it to the commission?
That's a normal fire department inspection document done by my part-time inspector.
And what did he inspect?
He inspected the buildings, and our inspection on September 14th was 2 weeks after this inspection. And my inspection, I found 57 rooms that had smoke detector issues. So when I contacted Inspector Brinkman about his inspection, and he only had 2 issues, he said he was told that the majority of the rooms were occupied. On a normal inspection of apartment complexes, hotels, things like that, that we don't have complaints, if we're just doing an annual inspection, then we don't check occupied rooms. So, but he was told the majority of the rooms were occupied.
And the 2 rooms that he inspected, the report shows what?
Oh, it's just emergency lights and exit lights, the power sources.
And what's the result of the inspection though?
Oh, they failed. And he was, in his defense, he was gonna go back and re-inspect after 30 days, and I told him not to because of everything that's going on.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing further, Mr. Rumble.
Mr. Rumble, sir, before you go.
Yes, sorry.
So every inspector that goes out to inspect.
No, limit the question to the report you gave.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah. Because Mr. Rumble was saying that it was the inspector, the part-time job that did this. So do you have or you don't have an inspection procedure, Mr. Barma, that you give or that the inspector is trained to do when he goes out to the building to inspect the building? Or everybody inspects the way he wants?
There's a procedure, but as far as like, if you go right-hand search, left-hand search, occupied room, not.
If there is a procedure, Mr. Barma, then one time you go into rooms, occupied rooms, another time you don't go into occupied rooms? That's what you just said.
Correct, because we had a complaint about your hotel, so for complaints, I just said, we go in every room.
So how do you go, Mr. Barma, from 1 or 2 fails that involved exit signs to 118 or 88 you called it?
I guess the only thing I can say is how do you have 57 rooms that don't have batteries that work in a smoke detector?
This is all that you think of safety, Mr. Barma, the batteries? And you, I heard you say that I told you, Mr. Barma.
There's testimony.
Yeah, when they're
Yes,
battery,
Mr. Barma, I heard
hold
you
on,
say.
you asked if that's all I think about. When they're battery operated smoke detectors, there's a hint.
We are
It's a battery, right? But you just asked me, is that all I think about? Yes, when it's a battery operated smoke detector, that's what I think about. I push the button and see if it's got a battery.
Yeah, and we addressed that, and we talked about
You
it.
just asked.
And you, last time you said that I told you, I ordered batteries from
Right,
China
that's what you said.
Would the gentleman with the council allow me to go run now and give me 10 minutes to go and bring a bag with over 50 batteries, 9-volt batteries that we stock in just in case. Hey, take it.
All Mr. Rumpel was doing was asking questions to your inspection report.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's all he's giving
Yeah.
testimony
But
for.
Mr. Chairman, he also mentioned that I said I ordered batteries, and he was implying that, insinuating that there was not, no batteries.
No, I didn't say that. I just said I would go get them. No, today when I looked, there were new smoke detectors in rooms, but one of the ones on the list that you had sent the city today was room 105. The first one I went into, guess what? The battery door was open and no battery.
Did you
But
see?
in your-
Mr. Barma?
Hold on,
Go
I'm
ahead,
talking.
go ahead.
One at a time. You said in your email, please check room 105 because I wanted okay. So I went in 105 because you said all smoke detectors in your email.
This is the information I get from my team. This is the information I get.
All right,
Mr. Mubarak, please limit your questions to the specific questions that were asked on redirect by Mr. Barrett, not his previous testimony, which you had a previous opportunity to cross-examine.
So again, on your email that you sent the city, all smoke detectors were fixed and all batteries were replaced. I found one today with your maintenance guy, there was this hat on and a beard. And he said, oh, I forgot to get that one in.
Okay.
So then again, your email is wrong. It's correct saying all smoke detectors and batteries are fixed.
Mr. Obama,
all right.
every job you've done in your life, we did it perfect.
No,
There's no, there's no
that is
rules.
not the issue here. The issue is you offered a report for exhibit A, B, whatever it is, okay? And in his redirect, he asked him specific questions. You're supposed to limit that to the questions that were in that report.
I'm trying to,
Okay, no, you're going back to the previous testimony. There's a report that you've offered. He's giving his opinion or has looked at the report and said his inspection that he's just done, correct me if I'm wrong, is different than the report you got.
Exactly.
Okay,
Thank you.
so limit your questions to that report, please.
Mr. Obama, you said your inspector, there was a different inspector that did the last inspection.
Yes.
And you did different line of inspection when you came.
Yes, because of complaint.
What did you do? What corrective action you took to reconcile the way your inspector inspects and your way of inspection? As a head of fire and safety professional. And I contribute to that with my taxes.
I said that in a normal annual inspection of hotels and apartments, and I'm talking, you can look at me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In a normal annual inspection of apartments and hotels, that we do not check occupied room. On complaints, we do, we check them all. And lo and behold, there were 57 rooms that didn't have working smoke detectors.
Mr. Obama, every single room you went into, you had a complaint from?
No,
You telling me?
but the complaint was, smoke detectors not working, no batteries.
Okay, I think we just.
I have no further
I think we
questions, Mr.
established
Obama.
that. Thank you.
I have no further questions.
Are we ready for a final statement?
Yes, sir.
And if a problem if we take a 5-minute recess?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, but we didn't get it, everybody needed it.
Yeah.
What a way to go out. Did you go in?
Yeah, deal like a 12 20 bucks.
I think I'm gonna have to run in there and try it.
It's worth it. Everybody back up.
This is what. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the next.
There's now there's something like that. Not that way, that concept. I used to sit this all practice. Sorry.
This is your presence. This is your presence. Still was.
Microphone's on. E, please, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the evidence, and I won't belabor the point at this time. The fulcrum piece of evidence is the October 11th notice of violation and notice to vacate. What we're asking for tonight is that you, as the hearing authority, affirm that order issued by Mr. Seal in the wake of all the inspections that have been discussed tonight. You heard from the Johnson County Health Department that the violations similar to, in some cases, the same as violations that exist today in November 2022 existed back in 2017. And after inspections, notices, discussions, the issue of a permit last November as outlined to address the issues outlined in Exhibit 2. Re-inspections, a death in the facility. We're still here tonight. After taking your time 3 weeks ago and reaching an agreement to vacate within 48 hours and acknowledging that the city could enforce that agreement by court action to seek an injunction, which is an order from the court that says you must get out. We're still here tonight because the city's had to file that lawsuit. You were all here on October 24th. And those proceedings are part of tonight's proceedings. We're still here. The witnesses do not dispute that things today are different from when they were when the notice of abatement, Exhibit 1, was issued in June of 2021. Nonetheless, the violations persist through this very day. You heard Mr. Seal testify that this building is unsafe. You heard the county health officer talk about raw sewage. You heard the fire inspector talk about the fire marshal talk about blocked exits and smoke detectors. You heard the cross-examination from the owner trying to justify the failure of smoke detectors in rooms because there were smoke detectors in the hallways. We all know that people sleep behind closed doors in hotels. We all know it doesn't take 5 years to buy batteries. It doesn't take 2 months to buy and install batteries. You heard the health officer say for emergency problems like sewage leaks, they expect a turnaround in 2 days. The inspection, the most recent plenary inspection, the health department, fire marshal, building inspector, was in September. It hasn't been cured yet. The building is unsafe. Not only is the building unsafe, but management of the building has failed and refused to cooperate in attempts to come into compliance. That's the reason we're here. We shouldn't be back here after having been here 3 weeks ago. I didn't discuss it with you at the time, but had the place been vacated, there'd been no need for an order tonight. Now there is. The place is dangerous, it's unsafe. The only testimony you have in front of you is to that effect, that it is unsafe, it is in violation. And that there has been work on it, but that it nonetheless is unsafe and in violation. So what we're asking for is an affirmation of Mr. Seal's order based on findings that the building is unsafe under statute and ordinance by way of health violations, plumbing violations, electrical violations, structural violations, fire code violations, and due to the presence of burn. And we'd ask, given the fact that we were here 3 weeks ago, and that we had a 48-hour agreement placed on the record in front of all of you that has been reached, we'd ask that the order be affirmed effective in 24 hours. Now, I'm not asking you in 24 hours to send out the police. I'm not asking you to, well, I'm not going to court in 24 hours. We're already in court, as I've said, but I'm asking your order, affirming Mr. Seal's order, to take effect within 24 hours or sooner if it be your desire. Thank you.
Would you like to make a final statement?
Of course. Mr. Chairman, council members, I don't know exactly what Mr. Barrett is after here when he said what he said. He seems to have been determined to do away with the business that the city of Greenwood has been proud to have. People are like not a deal here. People come from the state and out of state to come to this monumental historical spot called the Vanna Suites Hotel. Like I said again earlier, tens and hundreds of ugly Hiltons around the state and across the street that they can put up. But to start with, who's going to guarantee the high occupancy just because it's a new Hilton? And then it is not the same like the Vanna Suites Hotel. A lot of people are depending on the continuance of this business. And a lot of customers, if I may show some reviews that say horrible. And why it's horrible, hotel is not operational. I have those reviews of it. And again, all we are asking is a chance like everybody else, like every other taxpayer in this city and the state, to prove that we mean we serious, we mean business, and we diligently aim to comply and rate among the best. And again, as a free world, as a free country, as the leader of the free world, the customer is the ultimate judge of any business, whether it stays or goes or grows, not decided by one man or somebody else. Thank you.
Any questions among the commission? Statements? Seeing none, we'll move to a motion.
Mr. President, I move to find the Red Carpet Inn Fanta Suites at 1117 East Main Street, Greenwood, Indiana, is an unsafe building for specificities set forth by the building commissioner order of September 30th, and the order requiring Lodging and Trade LLC to act to abate the nuisance of the unsafe building that was issued by Building Commissioner Kenneth Seal on September 30th, 2022, be affirmed, and that the Lodging and Trade LLC be ordered to abate said nuisances by performing the abatements as ordered by the building commissioner within 10 days in accordance with the Indiana Unsafe Building Statute as of 9 p.m. November 14th, 2022. In addition to affirming the order, it is found that the owner has been found to have willfully failed to comply with the order. A civil penalty in the amount of not to exceed $5,000 shall be imposed. The effective date of the penalty may be postponed for a reasonable period to provide the owner the opportunity to comply. And it may be stricken or reduced upon the planning commission's satisfaction that all work necessary to comply with the affirmed order has been completed. This order will be effective immediately by statute.
Mr. Chairman, have you heard on the motion, please?
Pardon?
We have not asked for the affirmation of the September 30th order. September 30th order was supplemented by the exhibit in your binder, the notice of violation of October 11th. And to the extent you are willing to consider my comments in rephrasing the motion, that would be supported by the evidence. The current motion is not.
I would like to amend my date to October 11th, 2022.
I have a motion. Second. A motion by Mr. Shell and a second by Mr. King. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 9-0.
Mr. Chairman, what is the verdict now, or what do we do now?
It was just the building commissioner's September 30th order that was supplemented by the October 11th order that you received was affirmed by the planning commission. You have been given 10 days to comply and make all of the abatements that you have been ordered to in that October 11th order of the building commissioner, and that vacation order to comply, and a $5,000 penalty, as they have found it was a willful act of non-compliance, which may be stricken or reduced by this planning commission if you comply and work diligently toward compliance. It was the action taken. You see,
We're trying to comply.
we would encourage you to continue trying to comply.
We are humans. There's a limit. It's only God practice limits. But we are humans. We have been trying. All these people have been trying.
May I read something, please? Just something I.
The hearing's over. The motion has been taken and voted.
But you didn't open the floor for anybody to talk to.
No.
But that's something.
You should have been called as witnesses.
You didn't want to go witness, so I mean, I'm not a witness. I want to talk on behalf of myself.
Hearing's closed. Sorry.
So does that mean you're giving us 10 days from today to comply with what Mr. Still had?
Correct.
Correct.
And so when do we come back? So you're giving us 10 days to comply. So when do we come back for a follow-up?
If you would not come back before, unless an enforcement action needs to occur, ma'am.
Sorry, I'm confused. Mr. Chairman, would you please tell me in so many words, simple English, what is it that we need to do now? What is it that has been taken?
You have, way I understand it, you have 10 days to comply.
Comply with what?
The order that was given.
What is the order?
The October 11th order that was issued by Mr. Seal, you have 10 days to perform those abatements of those violations and bring the property into compliance.
Man, we have been trying, and if they keep sending these people to the same place, who's gonna guarantee anybody that's gonna be any different? You heard the witness, one guy says one.
Sir, this started a year and a half ago, okay? So we've been more than patient in getting this property up to code. You now have 10 days to follow the order of what we just approved. That's all I can tell you.
So basically, in 10 days, we get that building up to code, we're all good to go. That was
Mr.
being
Sell,
said.
is that correct? Because you're the building commissioner.
Can we ask for a third party inspection team to do the inspection? Why not?
Sir, what was your question?
Can we ask for a third party inspection
No,
team?
sir, the city of Greenwood is responsible for inspections to make sure codes and its regulations are met. Outside parties do not do that.
Okay, how about the combination?
Okay.
Can we check the qualifications of the inspectors?
No.
No,
Why not?
we,
This is the international practice. Any inspector that comes to your premises to inspect, you need to know who he is, where was he trained, what qualifications
this
he has.
hearing is over.
Okay, but I still want to know, in 10 days, we comply, does that mean we are in the clear to go?
That's up to the inspectors of the city of Greenwood.
If you bring the property into compliance, sir.
Meeting's over, it's time to leave the building. Meeting's over.
I served 8 years for that flag behind you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody, meeting's over. Close up, lock up the doors.
Everyone?
No, maybe the meeting, this meeting is over.
Yeah, it's not over. Thank you.
But,
No, we
Hearing
Yes,
is
it's
over.
already-
We still have more agenda items.
Yes.
This part's up.
I didn't realize it was your first item.
we still have,
Hold on.
Check.
The hearing is over.
You're not getting out that quick, Mr.
you're gonna stay here with the rest of us. So we do have another item under old business. PC 2022-080, 491 West Main Street, zone map change. We have a petitioner. Maybe online. Are you muted?
I do not believe the petitioner is here.
Okay.
And I don't think that was because of the length of the meeting. I did not see them here at the beginning of the meeting. Unless they're online, sorry.
Several of us dropped off.
They don't appear to be online right now.
Okay.
I don't think Fox would deny this petition.
No. So do we go for continuance or do we?
Staff does have a recommendation for denial of this.
Okay.
If you wish for staff to present their staff report and comments. Otherwise is the commission not the petitioner, would like to continue it to a future date.
Well, let's hear the staff's report. Okay, you're good with that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Put you on the roll because you're actually testifying for your opinion.
I do. Dave Nelson, City of Greenwood. Speaking on behalf of staff in the City of Greenwood, we prepared a staff report for an unfavorable recommendation for a rezone from CS to CM, that is commercial small to commercial medium, for a wider variety of uses. The petitioner reached out to our office inquiring about a used car lot or some type of heavier commercial use that they wanted to use at the site at 491 West Main Street. That's on the corner of Main Street and 31 across from Dairy Queen. Staff advised them that that is not a permitted use in the commercial small zone and that it would need either a variance or a rezone. They elected to rezone it to commercial medium for a general zoning of a wide variety of uses. And we informed them that their car lot was still not a permitted use under commercial medium. They were upset with that, but continued to go forward with their petition. Due to incorrect notices, they needed to continue from last meeting, but they are aware of the notices for this meeting. With the zone turning from commercial small to commercial medium, they would be allowed to have a overnight extended stay hotel, gas station, vehicular care service, non-major, residential care units, full service hospital, and a larger retail than what's permitted there in the commercial small zone. We feel that the commercial small zone is a better fit for that parcel. It has less intense commercial uses and would adequately serve the needs of that piece of property.
Open up for questions.
But I know there's a long list, but off the top of your head, what uses can be under the present zone?
And in your staff report, I encourage you to go to Exhibit H. This has uses permitted in both the CS and CM zone. It's a direct comparison between the two zones. They can have beverage sales, daycare, food service, fast casual restaurant. They can have a garden center, health wellness, medical centers of different types, dentists. They could have a motion picture theater. They could have a school, tattoo service, vet clinic. Studio, many retail, many of the commercial uses you should just on a smaller lot, less intensive, not be.
Like you're saying that they want to be able to expand that, include more uses.
Yeah, they want to expand it to include uses that would be at a higher level of commercial, a little more. There's more options, there are usually a little bit more intense options of commercial, kind of like a hotel or a gas station would be an example. That's a more intense commercial use than what staff would like to see and what the 2020 zoning map change elected for.
Does the petitioner want to continue and have them come to the meeting and present their case to their rezoning request?
I can't speak for the petitioner and what they want. They did notice for this meeting date.
Any other questions?
What gave the commitments that that's what's there now? Is that right? Is that what I'm seeing? So like the towing company was allowed?
The towing company, did have conditions with it being allowed there. To my knowledge, not all those conditions were actually followed. It was, I believe given, I believe they elected through I believe it was a use variance or a special exception to be there. And that was under our, prior to our 2020 zone map change, and it has not been used for some time, and they no longer have that grandfather use. It's no longer grandfathered, so I should call it grandfather use.
I just
Any
have
other
one more
question?
question.
Sure.
Is the building kind of geared toward vehicular sales and service? You having garages and that sort of thing? Is that something that they were looking to do? Did they get specific about the uses that they wanted to use the property for?
No, they gave us a general, just a larger variety of uses. In previous phone calls, they had talked about something like a towing or a used car lot. I don't want to put words into their mouth. I don't want to make assumptions. But I was under the impression that it was for something like a used car lot that they wanted. Although the commercial medium zone still does not allow for a used car lot, which was communicated to the petitioner.
Very good.
It was originally a tool rental place before it went out to business, and then it had varying things going in and out, but it was originally like that.
I mean, impoundment for cars at one time.
I think it temporarily was, but the lot was awfully small to be used for that purpose.
That roof has been at least a dozen different colors.
I'm just very good.
Got more than anything.
And so the petitioner was aware that.
Okay, so we have two choices. We can vote to continue it for the petitioner, or based on the testimony from Mr. Nelson, we can
Act and make a recommendation. If you do continue it, you've opened the hearing, so I would continue the hearing. So that if the petitioner attends, the petitioner can then make a presentation. Don't close the hearing.
That would be my question. Were they aware that they were supposed to be heard?
Yes.
And it's certified mail.
The petitioner is the one that does the notice for the meeting. They send out the notice to the newspaper and to interested property owners, properties within 300 feet or 2 parcels away from their lot. They were the one that sent that notice for this meeting date. They were aware that their prior meeting date, they had incorrectly done the notices. And that was the reason for the continuance from our last meeting. They had not given the right information in the newspaper and in the mailings. Therefore, they re-noticed for this specific night. So they should know that they were on the agenda next night.
It's that fairness. Still don't see.
I lean towards, let's get it off the docket. They knew tonight.
So
That's where I lean.
If we make a motion, do we need to speak of the statutory criteria?
Yeah, I always sort of give you, hey, please keep in mind that when you make your recommendation, yes, and he did say that he recommends unfavorable. If you do give a favorable, they do have some recommended commitments, so just bear that in mind. So,
all we're asking to do is to continue.
unless you want to continue, if you're going to make a recommendation, then it's up to you what you would like to do.
So let me make sure I understand this. We can make a we can make a recommendation to continue it. Act on it based on Mr.
On
Nelson's,
the testimony, yes.
and give a unfavorable recommendation. Is that
You could, You can give it, you can give no recommendation, unfavorable, favorable. He has put in his staff report, he could give it a favorable, he does recommend commitments.
Understood.
So those are your options. You can continue the hearing to give the petitioner an opportunity to appear, or you can go ahead and act and make your recommendation.
So am I correct in saying this does not follow the comprehensive plan to change to CM?
But now staff's finding felt that it did not comply with our comprehensive plan or our follow that. I will notice 2020 is when our zoning and zone map changed. I think that is a clear indication of what type of zone the city wanted on that parcel, with it being designated commercial small.
The intersection.
So there's only one way in.
I know, right?
Yes.
Can you run through the commitments real quick?
Yeah, they're like.
It's not real quick. There's,
You've
That's why
got,
I asked it that way.
there are.
So there's a lot of commitments.
There are 3 commitments, but
There's a lot of subtypes.
landscaping has a lot of detail, so they're almost.
And it all revolves around the card thing, right?
Most of it revolves, they had some commitments for landscaping in 2012 that we felt were still not followed. So it either meet our current landscaping requirements or what they were supposed to have done in 2012. We do talk about the portion of that is now owned by NDOT, not being used for signage, or they would need approval from NDOT. Currently, there's a sign portion that is now designated on Beacon to be owned by NDOT. We do talk about traffic and access concerns identified by the city engineer on our future review being addressed. Most of it does revolve around landscaping, parking requirements, and building design requirements.
So if it stays commercial small, then that still applies, right? Those commitments.
No, they don't. We're not putting any we're not asking you to put commitments on an existing property that's not changing. If they zone it to commercial medium, we're just ensuring that our ordinances be followed if you choose to go with the proposed zoning that the petitioner has provided, that we are unfavorable on. I will note, if you do continue it to a specific date, they would not have to do a renotice, as long as you mention the meeting date.
Mr. President, with regard to PC 2022-080, the Alpha Investment Properties LLC, 1.367.
Making a motion on the recommendation. Okay, I would like to run through the statutory
Yes.
criteria first, make sure it's in the record.
Please.
Okay.
Before we get
Do I need
If you
those
are-
public hearings?
If you are going to make a proposal, please bear in mind the following statutory criteria in rendering your recommendation. 1, comprehensive plan. 2, the current conditions and the character of current structures and uses in each district. 3, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted. 4, the conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction of Greenwood. And 5, responsible development and growth.
In regards to PC 2022-080, the Alpha Investment Properties LLC, 1.367 acres, northwest corner of US 31 Main Street. Rezone CS Commercial Small to CM Commercial Medium. I move the petition for a zone map change to rezone approximately 1.367 acres of land located in the northwest corner of the intersection of US 31 and West Main Street within the city of Greenwood, Johnson County, Indiana, from CS Commercial Small Format Zone to CM Commercial Medium Format Zone as set forth therein, receive an unfavorable recommendation from the commission to the Greenwood Common Council, and the same be certified to the Greenwood Common Council in the form presented. The statutory criteria that I base this upon is the comprehensive plan.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Schoen, second by Mr. King. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. 8-1. All right, next order of business. PC 2022-077 Chase Bank primary plat. Real quick, would you mind some of our duties on a primary plat?
Yes, this is a ministerial act. If the plat meets all the requirements of the subdivisions requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance, it is to be approved. If you are not inclined to approve it, you have to specifically set forth those provisions and regulations in the subdivision section, which it does not apply.
All right, this is a public hearing, 15 minutes for petitioner, 15 remonstrator, 5-minute rebuttal for each. Be sworn in, please. State your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Chad Hayes. I'm with Kinley Horn, 250 East 96th Street, Suite 580, Indianapolis, Indiana. Give me one moment for the presentation. So I'm presenting on behalf of Chase Bank, more specifically Chase Bank White River Project Team. I believe it's Ron Wright, project architect on the call. So we are presenting on the primary plat petition. Project's located at 565 South State Road 135, Greenwood, Indiana. It's just south of Library Boulevard to the east of State Road 135. There's a current existing bank there now. The proposed bank is going to replace the existing bank on the 1.36 acres. It's currently zoned CM, commercial medium. The building square footage is 4,130 square feet. It has 35 spaces, 2 of which are for ADA. As you can see here on the site plan, the proposed site will mimic the existing site as far as access goes, except for the far west entrance. It'll become a right-in only. You can also see to the north in Library Park Boulevard. The median is going to be extended to the west to prevent any westbound traffic on Library Boulevard from turning left into the right-only access drive. The 2 other access drives to the east will be full ingress and egress. To the north, west, and south of the building, you'll find that that's where the proposed parking will be located. And directly east of the building are 2 drive-through lanes and 2 ATM pull-up lanes. Directly east of that is a bypass lane. And in the northeast corner is the proposed detention pond. This is the utility plan for the site. As you can see, most of the utilities are serviced from the south, except for the water service. It'll come off of 135 right away and service the building from the west side. The sanitary service line will flow out of the east side and into an existing manhole in the southeast corner. As part of the submittal package, this is the actual primary plat proposed site conditions. You'll see that there is a 6-foot wide sidewalk on the west side of the property along State Road 135 inside of a 7-foot easement. There's also a drainage easement around the pond in the outfall pipe, which releases into State Road 135. On this slide, you'll find the architectural elevations for the building. The top being the south elevation. It depicts on the east side, which is the right, the drive-up canopy and the drive-up lanes. And then the left side is the main entrance. It's going to be facing State Road 135. Below it is the actual main entrance view. And over on the right side, you can see screening for where the transformer will be. The north elevation shown up top provides another view of the east side on the left with drive-through lanes, and again, the right side is the main entrance. Below it's the east elevation showing the drive-through canopy, drive-through windows, and another view of the screen on the south side to screen the transformer. This is the final architectural elevation slide. This depicts the drive-through lanes as well as the ATM flood lanes. I'd like to thank staff for their time in answering questions and clarifications and assisting us through the review process. You'll see here an excerpt from the staff report that was provided on the agenda. And with that, I have nothing further to share. If you have any questions, Ron and myself will do our best to answer. Thank you.
Anybody to speak against this? Close the public hearing. Any questions, comments? Yes.
Is Chase Bank just making it bigger or just refurbishing the property, or why are they doing this?
It's a completely new building and they're consolidating.
So they're gonna tear down the existing one and start all over?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nelson?
I do have a comment from staff. Part of the staff report, our TRC report, technical review committee report is up on the screen. Outside review approval, that is one that I'd like to make a condition of your approval if you choose to do so. I did just correspond with outside review minutes before this meeting. They said they would have a letter to me with some minor comments tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. They did not see any big red flags with this property, and they did not feel that there's anything that would hold up this property from an approval from them. So just for that, if you choose to approve the primary plat, in your notice of determination, I would request that you add a condition that outside review approval is complete.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question? What is outside review? What's it encompass?
Outside review, that's our outside review consultant is Commonwealth Engineering. Commonwealth Engineering will look at the site, they'll look at the drainage calculations, they'll look at sidewalks, they'll look at easements, they'll look at our subdivision control ordinance for primary plats. They've done a thorough review. The first review was quite a few pages long. They have since revised the plan and addressed, I believe to be most of Commonwealth's concerns. They've done a preliminary review and they have not had any large red flags that they've seen. They said that their comments should be pretty minor and that they would get those to me shortly.
Very good.
I believe that the outside review is normal procedure.
Yes, this is a normal procedure
We do that on
for
the
commercial site plans, primary plats. I would like to just also comment, staff will continue to work with the petitioner regarding the elevations. That's not a part of the primary plat approval. That's a part of the commercial site plan approval that staff will work on with the petitioner. But it does give a good visual of the building that they're planning on proposing on this new plat.
Any other questions?
President, I move to approve the proposed primary plat of Chase Bank, White River, submitted by Kimley Horn on behalf of JP Morgan Chase, docket PC 2022-077, subject to 2 technical review committee conditions that all staff comments are addressed and outside review approval. Because the primary plat complies with the standards of the Unified Development Ordinance, Subdivisions Division, and to direct the president to sign in the commission's behalf the notices of determination and written findings regarding the approval of the primary plat is prepared by the planning director.
Motion by Mr. Shaw, second by Monica. All those in favor of that motion, signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 9-0. Good luck.
Thank you all.
Thank you for patience.
Yeah.
Sorry for the wait.
Good luck with your neighboring Huntington, Lake City, Bank of America, with all within about 300 feet. Gotta keep
It looks good.
Gotta keep the precious ice.
I'll relay that message.
Good luck. All right. New business BC 2022-085 Ecuador committal termination. Long employed. This is a public hearing.
Well, it is a public hearing, I think Gabe's doing the explanation.
Okay.
Your guess is as good as mine when it comes to pronouncing the Ecuador commitments. These are older commitments that were placed on a parcel that has since been through our review process and been to the Plan Commission for a new set of commitments. These commitments have been through Plan Commission and council, and through our process, we're asking you to terminate the previous conditions that are for a project that never amounted. The project went away. I don't believe the owners, I don't believe Ecuador ever officially owned the parcel. And this parcel used to be in our urban fringe zone. That is how the commitments were placed on it. We no longer have that zone. Now we actually have annexed that area. And so I'm asking for you guys to completely remove the old commitments.
Anybody else to speak for or against this? Public hearing. Questions, comments?
Do they have a plan for something else, or is that what this is here?
Well, I think as Mr. Nelson said, I don't think the project ever went forward
At all?
at all. Right.
And the proposed development never actually closed on the property, but signed the commitments and recorded them 4 years after the property was rezoned. And this is now what is going to be the Denton Floyd Arlington Farms rezoned and has a whole different set of commitments. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Kind of like house clean.
Yes. All right, this motion is prepared.
Mr. President, in regard to PC 2022-085, the termination of commitments ordinance 02-13 Ecuador rezoning, I move to approve the request to terminate the commitments concerning the use and development of real estate made in connection with the rezoning of 20 acres of land located on the south side of County Line Road and east of Combs Road by ordinance number 02-13, because the commitments recorded were not executed by the owner and the land has recently been rezoned for another use and is subject to other commitments as presented to authorize and direct the commission commission president to.
Well, no, vice president, because by the time that I need the November 14th minutes adopted and approved to have a certified copy to attach in as exhibit to the termination that will be recorded. And so I don't know.
So it'll still happen this year.
So it will happen this year, and you will be the vice president.
By the commission vice president to execute a commitment terminating instrument regarding common council ordinance number 02-13 and to direct staff to record the termination instrument in the commission's behalf.
Motion by Mr. John, second by Mr. Walker. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same. Motion carries 9-0. Any new business from the floor? Thank you.
We appreciate it.
I would like to say thank you to Mayor Myers for appreciation, and I'm gonna miss serving on this commission. It's been a while. Quite a nice ending. I use the gavel more tonight than I did 20 years. So, but I want to thank everybody, and put Charlie in there too. Henderson, he was the one that appointed me originally, and so it's had some fun times and some challenging times, but sometimes you got to move on. So
Have fun.
I appreciate it, and thank you. And miss you too. I will be still involved in one more meeting, but that'll be remote. So, but,
On the beach.
Oh.
no, it still might still be a little chilly, but no. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Trent, I want to say, I've served with you, I guess longer than anybody else on the planning commission, with the possible exception of our esteemed corporate counsel.
Yes, and thank you very much for keeping me out of trouble.
And the way you've led this has been exemplary, and you've taught a lot of people a lot of stuff about city business. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good
With
job.
that, 9:37.
Way past my bedtime.
Untracked.
Missed it by 7 minutes, Don.
I was close.